Hi everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining me, MC Carter, the founder of Paradox, and today Antoinette Palmer of Antoinette Palmer Accountants, Chartered Accountants, but soon to have a new name, but more about that later. Hi Antoinette, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I really appreciate you setting aside the time for today's chat. And today, everyone, just to frame it for you, we're talking about the story, the recent history of Antoinette's firm, where she went from a situation of having lots of clients, but feeling that things were hard and things weren't profitable as they should be, to now having fewer clients and to be performing extremely well. I won't steal any thunder there, the details are yet to come. So Antoinette, if you could just fill in the context for everyone, what sort of firm are you? When did you start? You know, where are you? Size of firm?
We're a fairly new firm. We started in 2013 and I started the practice with no clients and I didn't purchase a fee base. I just rented an office and started advertising. So I had nothing. Now we've got 5 staff, only 1 full-time staff, but we're trying not to grow. We're actually trying to just recycle clients from the bad ones to good clients and have less numbers. So I'm not trying to grow staff or do anything at the moment. We're just trying to make the firm work better.
So you're not trying to grow the size of the firm, but you're certainly growing the profitability, which we'll come to. So where are you located, just to give everyone that context, Antoinette?
We're at East Gosford on the central coast of New South Wales.
Okay, so for those internationally, that's north of Sydney. Everyone knows where Sydney is. So in New South Wales, east coast of Australia. So Antoinette, you started roughly 4 years ago, and all you had basically was yourself, computer, internet, and office premises. And you mentioned advertising. What did you do in the early days on that front?
My very first ad was in the newspaper, and I paid over $3,000 and I got 2 clients out of that ad, which was very disappointing. And then I ended up paying for a company called Reach Local to do Google advertising for me, which at the time I thought was working because I was getting new clients on a regular basis. And I think we did that for 3 years. And over that 3-year period, our client base grew quite quickly and we thought it was going great. But what wasn't happening was the profitability wasn't there with the clients we were getting. We were getting very fee-resistant clients and clients who weren't wanting to grow their businesses. They were just wanting very price-sensitive clients.
Okay, so I'll mention for everyone a few take-home points as we go today. So with the firm that you were using, they were advertising online for you? Was it like pay-per-click advertising?
Yeah, pay-per-click, that was it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So guys, when you hear phrases like paid traffic, that's the kind of the recent term that people use for advertising online, whether we're talking Google, whether we're talking Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, there's a whole array of ways that people can advertise online. But you, Antoinette, was it specifically just the Google AdWords or was there anything else?
It was Google AdWords that they were advertising. They were advertising phrases as well. I was trying to attract certain types of clients and I did get some in those industries, but not the type of clients that I actually wanted when I look back.
Right, okay. So before you came into contact with Paradox, you met us. I think I spoke at an event in your region for Rapsy Griffiths, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how we first crossed paths, and then you got in touch a while after that, I think. But just before we actually had a proper conversation, where had the firm gotten to in terms of numbers of clients?
We were probably close to 1,000 clients, maybe sort of the 900 and something mark clients, but we weren't a profitable practice at all. So.
Wow. So high volume, low value sort of model at that point in time.
Yes.
And you're a sole practitioner?
That's right. Yep.
So that was like 1,000 of your most intimate relationships, just to be a bit tongue-in-cheek there. Okay.
And they all ring for the 2-minute question, which goes into 20 minutes, and they all want that for free.
Okay. So what did your lifestyle look like at this point in time?
Well, from May to December last year, I literally worked 7 days a week to pay the wages of the staff and the running costs. It was crazy. It was really poor. So,
wow. So you're working every day of the week for...
And a lot of my days were 12 hours through the week. I would be in here at 7 and leave between 7 and 8 p.m. So.
And that was for the privilege to pay overheads and staff, and not even yourself at that point?
No, very little for myself. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Several months without a wage whatsoever. It was very, very poor, and I knew I had to make massive changes.
Now, I remember very early on in our conversation, and I also remember seeing you at Masterclass last year when some pennies were dropping for you around strategy. Now, everyone, we teach a model. We call it the marketing machine model, and it's very logical and it's structured. And advertising and attracting people to your website is not the starting point. It is strategy. And part of strategy is to forget the concept of differentiation, unique selling propositions, and various things you would have heard over the years, which is all about telling everyone how great you are and how you're better than other firms. Wasted time, but rather adopting a focused strategy on ideal types of clients. So tell me, when did that first sort of dawn on you, and when did you start to see that you could change tack with your strategy?
When we started doing the Marketing Academy, we went, this is really what we need to do. And because I had two industries that I did do a lot of work with, but coming to terms with actually niching was hard for my headspace. But the Masterclass last year was probably the major turning point for me, because that gave me the confidence to say, yep, we are going to do it, and we're going to make some massive changes and make this business work. So it was good. Fantastic.
And you're coming, I was about to say this time next week, but this time next week, Masterclass will be over. So it's Monday, Tuesday next week. You'll be joining us again, I believe.
Definitely. Can't wait.
Yeah, cool. In Brisbane City again. By the way, everyone, Masterclass tickets cease being available at 11:45 p.m. tonight. So just go to practiceparadox.com.au/masterclass. Okay, so with paid traffic, one of the things that we've observed over the years, and we know this from theory and practice, is often when someone comes to you with a service like lead generation or Google AdWords, etc., their incentives are not always aligned with your incentives. They want to generate you lots of leads and get you lots of clients, but often it's not based on strategy. And so you found you were getting quite a mix of client types, and they were more price sensitive sorts of clients?
Definitely. We had every industry you could imagine, from industries that I'd never ever dealt with to industries I had a lot of knowledge in. So we were getting a lot of broad industries where I actually had to research some things because of lack of knowledge, and then having very price sensitive clients. So they were really price shoppers. And at the time when they were calling me, I was like, well, I need to take any income is better than no income, because I had to pay the expenses. But in hindsight, I would have been better not to have them at all and have capacity for the good clients.
Wow. We see this so often where someone starts a firm, and in the early days, they think any client's a good client because there are bills to be paid and income to be lived off. And then they work their guts out for a couple of years, few years, give or take, and then they lift their head up and go, uh-oh, what have I built here?
Exactly.
Okay, so a take-home point for everyone here is, in terms of terminology, before I talked about paid traffic, so that's advertising, we will always recommend first to address what's called organic traffic. So organic traffic is just the lingo for people who find you through search. So they find you because you're ranking well in Google, and not ranking well just for your homepage, but specifically for blog posts and specific landing pages and service-related pages, etc., on your site. Now, with organic traffic and paid traffic, both need to be focused on very specific keywords. And regardless of paid traffic or organic traffic, if you target too broadly with your keywords, you will tend to attract the more price-sensitive, less sort of discerning on other aspects clients. So can you recall, Antoinette, what did the agency that was getting you to spend money on Google AdWords through them, what were you targeting? Can you remember in terms of the phrases?
A lot of the phrases were accountant East Gosford, accountant Central Coast, tax agent, superannuation specialist, mostly just very broad generic terms, which just introduced clients to us, but in hindsight, they were the ones that were shopping around.
Yeah, okay, so case in point. So for everyone, just you need to know what are the phrases you want to rank well for in Google. Now, earlier, Antoinette, you mentioned our Modern Marketing Academy that you've been going through. And we also now, just to fill everyone in, we've actually superseded the Academy now with a platform that includes that content and that education in marketing, but the Modern Marketing Implementer platform, which we won't go into too much detail today, other than to mention when you get set up with Implementer, the platform, you can enter up to 30 phrases that you want to rank well for in Google. Now, there's a concept called long tail phrases, which means specific terms. And then there's a concept called, in statistics, the head. So there's the head if it's a graph, and there's a tail. The head is where there's lots of searches, but where there's lots of competition, and they're quite broad, generic phrases. Now, I call them tire kicker phrases because, guys, if you are targeting a description of your business, so accountant, bookkeeper, self-managed super funds, whatever it might be, and your location, that's very, very broad, and you'll most likely experience. So not only were they low value, how did you find like just dealing with them as people as well?
I've got every sort of client you can imagine that are very, so not on the same page as me. They are, I've got people that have been in jail. I've got people that have stolen from the ATO hundreds of thousands of dollars that have come to me. I've got some, yeah.
So you've got tax office employees on your books then? No, sorry.
Yeah, I've got some really, really difficult, bad clients, but that has changed now. So yeah, clients that I would never have dealt with in the past, but thinking that I could help them resolve their issues and deal with them. People don't change. I should have seen at the first meeting that they would never change. They're just out there to rot other people, and that's just their nature.
And you know, when people are price sensitive, they don't have things on their list of criteria of your values and what you stand for and the style of person that you are. They just want to cheat whatever, you know, year-end, quarterly type work, which is not an enjoyable relationship.
They cheat the accountants because they don't pay their debts, so they don't pay me. I had a lot of clients that were for the work that was done. So my debtors were, that was my real crippling issue, was bad debts.
Wow, okay, low value and bad payers.
Yeah, bad payers was the harder issue than the low value, because I did all this work and paid staff to process the work, but the clients didn't pay me.
And that's one of the beauties of the style of marketing that we teach, which is educational in nature. It's very focused with who you're wanting to attract, for starters. But because it's educational in nature, you tend to draw to you people that are aligned with your thinking and values. Is that what you're finding?
Yeah, well, now it's much better. Yeah, definitely. So.
Now, if anyone has heard of and hasn't yet read Simon Sinek, or Sinek, S-I-N-E-K, his book Start With Why, it's very popular. We've been promoting that book for years, and it's a good model, his golden circle model of people don't care so much what you do or how you do it. Of course they do, but what they really connect with is why you're doing what you're doing. I frankly think Start With Why is way overrated as a tool. It's like one little string in a bow that you need to get your strategy right, but it's an important one. But in and of itself, it's not the answer to strategy. And I would say, in my observation, that accounting firms don't have bad strategies. They just lack a defined strategy for starters when they first come to us.
We didn't have a strategy. It's really poor. When I look back and after working with UMC, I just can't believe how poorly we were working and the change we've made in the last 6 months.
Well, you know, it really does apply to, it's Michael Gerber's E-Myth. Like, really, I think when anyone registers a business name or a company, the governments, the state governments and federal governments of the world should go, you must read this book first, the E-Myth, because, you know, businesses, as Gerber says, are generally started by technicians that can do the technical work of the business, such as accounting, bookkeeping, business advisor, bricklayer, plumber. And then the skill set above of manager is a different skill set altogether in terms of managing technicians. But then at the top of the tree, being an entrepreneur who designs a system that is the business that allows managers and technicians to flourish it's just not even in the skill set, let alone the mindset, is it, when you start out?
Oh, it's just, yeah, totally different story.
So you're now reinventing your firm, which is exciting on lots of levels, and we'll do a little bit of a show and tell with people too as well. But maybe seeing as we're talking to a lot of accountants and bookkeepers, they tend to like numbers. What are some of the before and after numbers from where you've gone from no strategy, take anyone with a heartbeat and a checkbook, to now having very clear types of clients you're wanting to attract? What are the numbers looking like?
The numbers that I only told MC this morning, our profit from, if I just go January to May, because I'm looking at, we really implemented changes in January this year. So from January to May this year and comparing January to May last year, our profitability has gone up 918%, which is 9 times the profit we made in the 5 months last year to this year, which we are so happy with. Our turnover's up 41%. So even though we've lost clients by choice, we've changed our client base. We've downed our client numbers by 150 and trying to lose more. We've actually had our turnover go up by 41%. My wages have increased by 12%. So we really have made a major difference to the practice. And now I'm not working weekends. So the most I'll do is maybe 3 hours on a Saturday. And
that is so wonderful to hear on every level. Like the whole team at Paradox, like when we heard how well you're going, and that when we first had this chat that led to today's interview, at that time you mentioned you had the best 3 months ever in the firm, and the best 4 months ever, and the best 5 months ever.
Yeah, it's amazing. We just can't believe our turnover and our profitability. It's just so good. And I can just see it improving all the time, because we are replacing the bad clients with good clients, and it's only going to get better now.
So what was that profit percentage? 918%. So 918%. So that's after your salary.
Yes, after.
And you've given yourself 12% pay rise as well.
Yes.
And you actually have a life.
I'm actually getting paid. Well, this year I'm getting paid. Last year I barely got paid anyway. So this year I've actually had to pay every single week, which is just amazing. So
you're making more money, and you've got a life to boot, which matters. Yeah. So that we are so pleased, like we're stoked. One of the funny things I find in life is when you learn something that is really profound, you think back to before you knew it, and you can recall a time when you didn't know that you didn't know it. And with strategy, it's like that. Like our masterclass that's happening on Monday, Tuesday next week in Brisbane, it's all about strategy. It's about, and by the way, everyone, strategy is simply how to win. Like I've coached sporting teams, I've played in a lot of sporting teams, and some really high performing teams. And you can go on about the importance of the team, and your people are crucial, don't get me wrong. But a great team with a bad strategy still loses. So strategy is how to win, whether we're talking sport, whether we're talking business, whether we're talking board games. And that's what we're going to teach people at Masterclass. And you know what I reckon, Antoinette? Here's the weird thing. I reckon, I'm teaching what I most need to learn perhaps, that by calling it winning strategy, I believe that 19 out of 20, probably more, accounting firms out there, principals, directors, partners and firms, don't even know that they don't know about strategy.
I agree.
So let's, oh, sorry, Antoinette, you're saying?
You're right. It's been an amazing change. Going to Masterclass last year and making major changes in the practice has just turned our lives around. It's amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah. And with Masterclass, there are a lot of events out there, and we've had some people say to us, oh look, we can't come to Masterclass because we're going to some other event out there. And one of the differences with us is that we've actually come from a background of entrepreneurship and consulting, not public speaking and standing up on stage and spruiking information. We've actually come from the trenches, inside and outside accounting firms. And at Masterclass, this is to fill everyone in on how this differs. Masterclass isn't just a slide fest, which I know because I speak at a lot of conferences as well. Most accounting firm things you go to, you sit down, you get a printout of the slides, and you sit there, and someone might do a bit of rah-rah, or it might just be technical, and it's just slide, 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 slide. Isabella, my better half, who is a member concierge with Paradox, she's degree qualified in education, and she's taught me so much over the years. And education is not looking at slides. Education is having time to slow down, think, do, create, critique, get feedback, bounce it off people and mold it again and do that. And that's what we do at Masterclass as a true workshop. A lot of things get called workshops, and really they're just slide fests. That's how I see it. What's your take on Masterclass and how it compares to other events?
There's no comparison to anything that you attend, because Masterclass is hands-on and you do develop the strategy that works for your own practice. We put a lot of effort into our strategies last year and we made a lot of changes, and we're now seeing the results, and I can't wait to look forward to the next 12 months of what we're going to do. It's great.
I won't say right now what I see you achieving in the future, but I can see an amazing milestones ahead of you in the next couple of years. And I say that with a lot of confidence because we've just been doing this now. We're officially, by the way, on the Monday night when we have the dinner at Masterclass, we're officially 10 years old at Paradox. Yeah, it's exciting. I've reached double figures. We're growing up, perhaps. And, you know, with 4 of the last 5 Xero Partners of the Year in Australia all having come to Masterclass and learnt off us, we've just seen people go so many times from, they describe it as things like, it's the difference between day and night, you know, having clarity and strategy and not. But let's talk now about some other things. With your firm, when you came to us, and are you officially still called Antoinette Palmer Chartered Accountants?
We are, because we haven't rebranded with our new website, but I wanted to do it for 1 July. We had a few issues with our trademark, which are now resolved, but I think Bianca will have our new website ready in August. So we're close to rebranding.
Okay,
so at the moment
great.
we are technically Antoinette Palmer Chartered Accountants, but we will be Embrace Accountants very soon.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to talking in a moment about that choice of name. So just to be clear, everyone, the website that we're looking at now has had zero input from Paradox. And with all due respect who designed it, this isn't strategic. Let me give you some more take-homes, peoples. If your website has at the top of it an area that keeps changing, they're sometimes called sliders or billboards, as you're seeing at the moment, that has categorically been proven by conversion rate optimization specialists. That's a discipline in and of itself, CRO. It kills conversion rate of a website. Imagine if you went to, let's say, a business networking breakfast, like I believe you went to this morning, Antoinette, and you know how some of them have an opportunity for you to stand up and say your little thing for 30 seconds or 60 seconds or whatever? I don't know if the one you went to has that. No, and imagine if someone got up on stage and they started to do their little elevator pitch and they said, are you worried about your finances? At Antoinette Palmer Chartered Accountants, we are totally focused on, hang on, I've got another idea. If you're a stickler, so I hope you don't mind me having a lend there, but the whole idea is you need to have a core value proposition. So earlier Antoinette mentioned Bianca. Now Bianca is one of the most talented graphic designers that we know. She can do logos and branding and websites, infographics. She's awesome. Now, if you're ever wondering how we work, see, if you go to a social media advisor, the answer to your business problems is going to be more social media. Or if you go to a paid traffic person for guidance on your marketing, the answer is going to be, you need to do more paid traffic, more advertising. If you go to a website developer, the answer is going to be, oh, your website will fix everything. And it's absolutely not the case. So what we do at Paradox, we stick to our core. We educate you through Implementer, the Academy, which is now part of Implementer, and Masterclasses. That education is important. And we do services like blogging, social media, email newsletters, SEO. But outside of that, we have a network of Paradox Preferred Partners. Now, Paradox Preferred Partners are just people we know are bloody good, because I don't know if you've ever experienced this, speaking to everyone now. Marketing's a minefield. There are so many people out there that go and do a 1-day, 2-day, whatever course, and then all of a sudden they're an expert in something, and they're out there spruiking themselves, and there are far more bad providers who frankly don't know how bad they are than good providers. So that applies to designers, web, copywriters, SEO, across the board. So when we find someone good, which every day of the week we're looking for, because it's like, you know, fossicking for gold, we basically reach out to them and say, we love what you're doing. We want to be able to refer our members to you for projects that we don't do ourselves, which Bianca Schurman of Beehive Design does. So let's, before we show everyone the new branding, the name. So you're changing from Antoinette Palmer to?
Embrace Accountants.
Embrace, E-M-B-R-A-C, Embrace. What's the meaning behind that name, Antoinette?
My husband came up with the name a couple of years ago because a lot of the clients that I do a lot of good work with will give me a hug at the end of a meeting, which is fairly abnormal. So he would be out there in the waiting room and the clients say, can I just give you a hug? I'm so grateful. And so he came up with the name Embrace Accountants, and I liked the name, but I was worried it wasn't going to be, it's not what other people call their practices, so I hadn't done it. And then eventually he had the courage to talk to you, MC, and you loved it. So that then gave me the confidence to go, yes, we'll change names and rebrand.
Yeah, I remember when you bounced it off me, my immediate reaction was, I love it. For that reason, that story, because it helps convey the warmth of you as a person, and that's, you know, going to become your brand personality. But obviously it's a double meaning as well, about embrace change, embrace the future, embrace technology, that sort of thing.
So much that can be used with the word, but yeah, we're really excited.
Now, by the way, everyone, another take home. If you Google branding for accountants, you will find, last time I looked, #1 in Google, a blog post that we wrote about that and why boring branding hurts the accounting profession as a whole and hurts individual firms as well. And in there, part of branding is not just your look and feel, by the way, everyone. Branding is essentially the market or a person's experience with your business. So it's visual, it's kinesthetic, it's auditory, it's everything. So don't think branding is logos and colors. That's a subsection of it. But in there, we talk about how, you know, firms that we've helped come up with names like Change Accountants and Get a Life and Cadence Accountants and a whole range of other firms. Previously they would just, you know, surname and account and associates, or surname and partners. Now, a name isn't the be all and end all, but if you can have a name that embraces your brand essence, you're going to stand out from the other many thousands of firms who must stay up all night before they register their business name and get their company and go, oh, should we be and partners or and associates or whatever after their surname? And, you know, really, they're not also building, to come back to Michael Gerber, the E-myth, the entrepreneurial myth reference earlier, about the fact that, you know, most businesses are not started by entrepreneurs, they're started by technicians that have an entrepreneurial seizure and say, that's it, I'm going to go do this for myself. You know, that you're not building a brand that's separate from yourself. And I've seen it happen so many times. So you're going to be embraced. Let's have a look. I'm going to bring up the PDF that Bianca sent through to you, and all our Paradox preferred partners always keep us in the loop as the overall strategic advisor. So what I might do is just zoom out a little bit there. So Antoinette, this PDF came through to you from Bianca.
Yes.
At the start of the project, before she'd actually said, this is the logo, this was kind of putting some concepts to you.
Yeah. So,
and talk us through it. Let's go to this page, the mood board. What's the mood board all about?
Okay, she interviewed me and asked me, and I did a questionnaire. And from that interview and questionnaire, she built a mood board, and she just asked me, has she captured me in that mood board? And I love that mood board. That mood board's pinned up on my board in the office because it is really me, and she captured the colors I like, the feel, and my personality. So she really understood me very quickly, and I loved it. But that gave her a starting point to build a logo that was me, and I'm really happy with what she did.
Yeah, when we first started collaborating with Bianca, and I saw these at the start of that, I went, wow, okay, this is interesting. So before she's put any logos or anything to you, she's just put together a whole range of images that she feels reflects who you are and how you want to be perceived.
Yeah,
the essence of you. Brilliant. So cool. You mentioned there, Antoinette, the word interview. Now, everyone, here's another take home. If you work with a website provider and they give you a questionnaire to fill out, and that's all they do, and they expect you to fill it out and, you know, kind of DIY on the content. And we're talking about design here, but it applies to the copywriting, the content as well. Wow, you're dealing with a very poor operator. The designers like Bianca and the copywriters for websites that we refer people to will always interview you like a journalist would, because sometimes many of us will get writer's block. You know, you're looking at a blank questionnaire, you've got to fill stuff out. Whereas through a conversation, stuff just kind of comes out more naturally for most people. So Bianca interviewed you, got to know you, what you stand for, where you want to take the firm, and that's the mood board there. And then, and then she summarized a bit of a color palette across the bottom.
She did. And yet the colours we chose at the end were not from our colour palette, which was interesting, only partly our colour palette. And then she
when
came
you say our colour palette, your existing colour palette?
Yeah, so...
Yeah, okay, so that colour palette.
Yeah, well, the actual logo that she chose has got colours that weren't in her mood board colour palette, like that we ended up with. So.
You know, I think that's one of the strengths of Bianca's design, is that she's excellent on color palette, where she'll come up with a really unusual combination of colors for people that you can own, that when people see those colors, they're going to go, bam, you know, associate that combination of colors with your brand over time. So talk us through concept one.
So we ended up, the 2 paper clips has got to do with the meaning of embrace, but it actually is an E and an A joined together and embracing as well. So yeah, that is the actual logo of the 2 paper clips is what we ended up choosing. And it wasn't the colors I thought I would have. I never thought I'd like orange, but they stand out. We have got it as Embrace Accountants, not Embrace Accounting. But the logo there, that is what we ended up choosing, and we're really happy with Bianca's work. She's done an amazing job.
I don't think I've seen those particular colours combined like that. So
I've chosen it, but yeah, it just stands out when you look at it on the page of against the other ones. It just bounces. It's really bright and good. Yeah.
Oh. So that is striking. The choice of the font on Embrace is modern and elegant, but so those 2 paper clips facing each other actually are an abstracted E for Embrace and A for Accountants. And it's also, those paper clips are embracing, like they're having a hug.
Yeah, so it has a double meaning, and yeah, it sort of captures everything. Really happy with it.
And I think everyone should hug their accountant at least once a year, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
They're doing a good job. Okay, so here she's showing that logo in some different sort of some different color options and that sort of thing.
Color options, formats. And
one of the things that I love that she does is, so yeah, here's some color variations of it. So some different color palette.
Color palettes and Embrace Accountants now. So this is round 2 where we've got Embrace Accountants, and then she's come up with, I think the next page has got our sort of logo in different formats. So
it blows me away when she presents logos that don't even exist in reality yet. But she's able to show them as if they're out in the wild.
Yeah, I love that page. That's what we will be fairly soon. So excited.
Man, so striking. Now, everyone, contrast that with that. Now, I'm going to give everyone another take home that is a trait of highly successful firms, every successful firm that we've dealt with. So I mentioned before that 4 out of the last 5 Xero Partners of the Year in Australia are all Paradox members, have had us guide their marketing. And one trait is that they have design in their DNA. I'll say that again. They have design in their DNA, which means they really, really, really care about design. So whether we're talking about Steph Hines at Growthwise, whether we're talking about Timothy Munro at Change Accountants, these guys all, oh my goodness, you know, Tanya Titman at Consolidate, the current Xero Partner of the Year, they really, really care about and invest in design. And if you're not investing in design, before we talked about sometimes when people don't know that they don't know something, I know for a fact that design is an utter blind spot for most accounting firms on the planet, not just in Australia, because we deal with firms in 8 different countries currently. And design doesn't, no one's going to come to you and say, I came to you because I liked your colors and your logo. They're never going to say that unless they're a designer, but they're not going to say that, right? Because design actually influences at the subconscious level. So because it influences at the subconscious level, people don't even know that they're being influenced by it, but it does influence. Every day of the week, we are all influenced by design, whether you're into design or not. So look how great that looks on that wall there.
Oh, that's what I can't wait to do. It's just gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are going to be superstars. So she's showing how it might look in signage, on business cards, etc. And then we'll show everyone the other concepts as well. This was another concept that she put in there. Can you recall what was the meaning of this one?
It was more like two arms hugging the word embrace accounting. So that was her form. So.
Okay. And EA, my son's a gamer, so that's a brand in gaming, I think. EA. There's some variations there. And then again, showing it out in the wild. If you had gone with that one. And that one still looks great. It just doesn't look as good as the other one.
It doesn't bounce as much. It's not quite as bright. So.
Here's another one. What's the symbolism behind that one?
Oh, I can't remember. She had a story behind it. Now I feel really bad for Bianca.
Actually, you know what that looks like? From the top, the round part may be a person's head. And
I have a feeling it's another form of embracing. I do think that's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So there are different color variations on that. Now, everyone, this was done by Bianca as just one part of the project. There were other rounds and refinements, and then she will put them into every format. You know, little things like, for example, ask yourself, has your firm, so this isn't to you, Antoinette, because we know the answer to this is going to be yes. So to everyone else, has your firm bothered to have your email signatures professionally designed? Or are they just a logo banged in there? Might even be the right file format for Christmas and file size, and it's got this massive legal disclaimer under it that your professional indemnity insurer told you you've got to have. And most email signatures look rubbish. But how many emails go out of a firm every day? You know, many, many, many dozens and hundreds, depending on the size of the firm. So, you know, every little interaction someone has, you know, if someone gets an email from you and they think everything that this firm sends me just looks amateur, they have no basis to judge how good you are, how up to date you are with tax and structuring and bookkeeping and you know, cash flow management. They can't judge that. They're never going to be able to judge that. So people, the brain looks for cues for quality, and there's a range of cues for quality. Your pricing, design's a huge part of it, how well you communicate. And by the way, how did you find Bianca to deal with, as you know, communication?
She's beautiful. She is such a sweet lady and very, very professional. She's very arty, and you can see it and feel it, and she's so passionate about her designs, and she'll do anything and everything to make it right for you. She's amazing.
She is.
Get someone more talented. She's really, yeah.
And by the way, Bianca, this for everyone, Bianca will work with firms all around the world and does. She's based in Brisbane. Our team is geographically distributed, though Bianca is a preferred partner. She's actually born in South Africa and grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and now lives in Australia. So she's a citizen of the world, very well-rounded person. But yeah, she's a delight to deal with, and her care factor is just huge. I'm going to give everyone another take home, as I've been calling them today. You must have in your business a designated designer. See, if I was to ask business owners, who's your accountant? They know who their accountant is. If the bookkeeping's separate, they might know their bookkeeper. Your banker, your solicitor. You need to have a broader advisory team than that in terms of your inner circle. And you need to have someone who's leading the design. Otherwise, you end up looking amateur. If you invest in great branding and then you skimp and get the little graphic designer who works at Snap Printing or some other little franchise, they're not proper graphic designers. They know how to use, you know, the different Adobe tools, but it doesn't mean they're good designers. So make sure that you have a designer that you send everything through. For example, and I'll be sharing this at Masterclass, Antoinette, with our own buyer personas, which is one of the 7 big rocks of strategy. We're inspired by what Consolidate initially did with their buyer personas and turning it into an infographic. So with Consolidate, always investing in design, and they've actually got a staff member full-time on board, a web developer and graphic designer. They're a larger firm, of course. But anyway, everything we do, we send through Bianca, everything we do, and that gets everything just looking fantastic. So guys, if you're getting signage for your cars or signage for your foyer or anything in your business, always go back through that same designer, because there'll be efficiencies there. They've got your digital assets, as they call them anyway, but you'll make sure that you've got brand police working for you. You know, Xero, everyone talks about how well Xero markets themselves. And one of the good things about Xero in my mind, in terms of how they've influenced firms, is they've shown businesses in general, but particularly I think accounting, bookkeeping firms, the design matters. And at Xero, they are utter design Nazis in terms of their brand guidelines. Incredibly strict if anyone's ever had anything to do with Xero. And I remember a quick little story. I was at one of the Xero cons one year, and they had lanyards for everyone who was there, and they were color-coded based on what state you're from. So a whole range of different ones. I think maybe so people could build rapport and talk to each other if they're from the same neck of the woods. But a Queenslander said to me, "Oh, this should be maroon." I said, "No way in the world will you ever see anything maroon from Xero." Like, they are so onto it. And as a result, they look world class in everything that they do, not just their app, but all of their marketing. So you mentioned trademark before. That's a pet topic of mine. So what's happening on that front with the trademark?
We applied for a trademark, and it turned out a company in Hong Kong had trademarked Embrace for every single industry, and so we ended up having to put an opposition in for it, which we lodged, and we've been successful in that. And now our trademark's just going through now. It should be ready in about 4 weeks, like finalised. We've got no problems now. So we did have some issues, and I was worried we weren't going to have the name Embrace, and I was feeling a little bit nervous, but now it's all going fine, so that's good.
And did you self-register for that trademark, or which you can in Australia, or did you go through a patent and a trademark?
I used a patent attorney because I don't know anything about it, and I'll just pay them to do it. I have a client who is a patent attorney, which did make it easier, and he's looked after me. So. Yeah,
particularly if it doesn't get accepted on first round, they know how to go through those processes. So another take home for everyone around your business name. If you've got a good business name, and no doubt you probably think yours is, no matter what it is, regardless, you need to protect it. And here's one of the little ironies. When people, and I think many accountants are under this belief too, because I used to be, that when someone registers a business name, or they create a company, they think that they've protected their name, they've got their name. But those mechanisms are not designed to protect the proprietor or the purveyor of goods and services. They're actually designed to protect consumers, so they can identify who's behind that company, who's behind that trading name, etc. From an intellectual property perspective, gives you very, very little, if any, protection. And a trademark is obviously the strongest form in a registered trademark. What's your overall cost to share, Antoinette, if someone here hasn't applied to register their trademark for their main brand name?
We've spent $1,800 plus GST now, but I don't know, the cost would be a lot lower if we didn't have to do an opposition order and everything. So I couldn't tell you the cost. It wouldn't be very expensive, but we've just had a little bit more. But I still think it's money well spent, because now we know it's our trademark and we can use it and use the wording how we want. So much happier.
Yeah. And a trademark is a balance sheet asset. It really is. Any IP attorney will tell you that. They're in the game of telling us that. But it really matters. It gives someone coming in down the track. We all retire eventually. So whether you sell or you have a succession plan in place to do that, it gives future owners and equity holders a lot more security to know that someone, if it's only protected by company name or business name, the name only has to be trivially different, and it'll get through those channels, won't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yes. So okay, that's exciting. So you're gonna have the registered trademark. By the way, everyone, you can put TM, the little TM, next to your brand name from day dot, and that's just saying to the world, hey, this represents who we are. This is our brand. Don't go copying it. So there's no cost or anything to do that, and it's highly advisable. And then you apply to get a registered trademark, and then you can have the R with the circle around it. And it's amazing what you can trademark. The strongest form is just the word, not how it looks, but you can also trademark, the mark, how it's designed. People can actually even trademark things like sounds, which is pretty bizarre.
Yeah, wow.
A little bit of trivia there for you, everyone. Okay, so when's the new website going to go live?
I'm waiting on Bianca, and it's not her fault. I pulled the pin and said to stop processing. I just said don't finish the website until we've got our trademark sorted. But she hasn't got time to go back and finalise everything until August. So she hasn't given us an exact date. I think she said maybe 6th of August, but I might aim for 1st of September launch, because I don't want to put the pressure on Bianca, and I want to have everything right in the website prior to it going live. So.
Okay. And anyone watching now or watching or listening later, We will refer you through to the Paradox Preferred Partners because, remember, strategy is always at the top of the tree. Design is to implement part of your strategy. So sometimes people come to us and say, look, we need a new website, and we'll look at it and we'll go, not yet, you don't. So there's often, we've had people say to us after they've just spent 10,000 plus or minus on a website, say to us, oh God, I wish we came to you a year ago, because they realized that what they'd done was very non-strategic. So guys, get in touch with us. You can just email us at hello@practiceparadox.com.au. That goes to the whole team. Or you can email me at mc@practiceparadox.com.au. Now, I'm going to keep an eye on the Q&A panel. If anyone would like to send through some questions about anything we've covered today, whether that's questions directed to Antoinette or to me and the Paradox team, that's cool. So when I look down here, I'm looking at my other monitor, the Q&A. So what are some of the other things, Antoinette? We've helped you get clear on your strategy, your renaming, rebranding, getting a new website. You're now doing, what sort of other marketing activities are you doing?
Oh, I've got other marketing, but I also want to point out that your suggestion of Practice Ignition for engagement process has solved our debtors and cash flow issues. So we're now using that for every client, which I think has been a turning point for our practice as well. So
isn't it a great piece of tech? I remember when they launched, I spoke to Guy Pearce, the founder there, and I'm right into technology big time, as most people know. And it even took me a little while to get my head around it, because it was a new type of app. Like, it wasn't an app that was, oh, it's just like that app over there. It's more like, it's a bit like Carbon is creating its own category too. So how would you describe to someone, not that I'm out to promote Practice Ignition for any reason other than I think it's just a great piece of tech. What is Practice Ignition solving for you, and what does it do?
Well, we have an agreed price, so that's a starting point. So anyone who's a price shopper and doesn't accept our price, that's it. Like, they can just go somewhere else. So we have an engagement process. So we have had problems where I have been to court with the client over fees and engagement process, and we did win, but I don't want to go through that process. So now it's formalising an engagement process. They accept it, and the fees are agreed up front. So we just don't have the problems and the discussions at the end of a job for fee-resistant clients. And I had too many clients that just didn't pay me. Some just took off overseas, some just fought it and we ended up in the courts, some we ended up just dealing with through debt collectors. But it was just a painful process to deal with that. And we're still dealing with it now. I've still got clients that owed me money 12 months ago, and we are still cleaning up that problem that I created. And I had no idea I created the problem, or that it was a problem, until it all sort of came to a head. So.
Yeah. And one of the things that we're really strong on, if I do say so myself, is the fact that we know how to bring about change in a business. And change isn't thinking about stuff. Change is changes in behavior. And to bring about change in a business, you need to shift various things. You need to shift mindset. So that's beliefs and attitudes and awareness of certain things. And that's first and foremost. You need to develop and shift skills. That's clearly important, but usually most accounting firms don't invest enough in their soft skills training for themselves and their team. That's another topic for another day. And then I used to have a third circle, but I've split out the third circle. So we've got mindset, got skills, and I used to have the third circle in a Venn diagram with systems. And what I realized is people think when they buy a piece of software that that's a system. So I actually split systems out to create 4 circles now. So there's systems and tools. So Practice Ignition is a tool, and it's a great tool. But your system is how you're going to use it, all the decisions you need to make to even be able to utilize it. Because I think a lot of people get stuck with Practice Ignition initially, because if you're not clear on not just pricing levels, but pricing structures, you can't actually enter anything into the back end.
Yeah, it is hard to get your head around. I found it hard to start with, but I'm not real tech savvy. But Renee has helped me in the office, and she's got it up and going quite well. And knowing what packages and knowing how to deliver it and what we're doing with sending out engagements, it's just making the engagement very clear and knowing what's included and knowing what is not included. Is you have to be really clear on that, and that was probably hard to get our head around it to start with, but we're getting much better at it now. So
yeah, great. Because over the years I've seen in data from, for example, Business Fitness, they're good, the bad, and the ugly, the accounting profession, when the fixed fee sort of advice started to become more common. People were losing money on fixed fee because of scope creep. So we tell people, don't even use the word fixed anyway. It's just agreed pricing based on the agreed scope. And so it's not fixed. The scope changes, sure as hell the price is going to change, isn't it? So do you like how when people accept it, and do you use it this way, that then whatever sort of defined jobs you have in a proposal just automatically flows into Zero Practice Manager?
It does, and that makes another thing. It manages that workflow. Not totally happy with the workflow in Zero Practice Manager, but that's just maybe us are looking at other options for. Yeah,
as a separate tool, Zero Practice Manager, I think, is showing its age now. It was cool when it first came out, but there are better workflow tools. Have you looked at Carbon? That's Carbon with a K.
Definitely looking at that as an option.
They're definitely the new thinkers on that block. But that is another topic for another day. Now, just having a look here at questions and answers. Don't see any come through, so we'll just wrap up shortly by touching on a few things for people. Before I talked about the fact that we teach people a structured, logical approach, to get beyond the BS and the pretty pictures and the black box mystery of marketing. And, it really is a mistake. For example, we started out today, Antoinette, talking about how you were investing in advertising to attract people. You started out with a print ad that cost you how much for that ad?
$3,000.
$3,000, and you got, I think you mentioned 2 clients.
Yeah.
So $1,500 cost of acquisition. So less than ideal. Then you move to the digital. But all of that area is just this piece, attract. Look what's upstream from that, everyone. Strategy first, then your presence. So that's your digital footprint. There's a whole range of things that most firms don't even know that they're not doing when they first come to us. And Implementer actually tells you, gives you ratings on your digital presence, not just across things to do with Google, but also other areas that affect your visibility online. And then publishing content that will resonate, connect with, attract those people that you want to attract. By the way, we didn't touch on, did we, Antoinette? Moving forward, what are the sort of the different niches that you've chosen?
We're doing the medical and health industry, and we're doing the building and construction industry. So, and we really are not taking clients outside those 2 industries.
Beautiful. So what benefits do you see that will have for you, Antoinette, on the marketing side for starters, and also just operational, the delivery side?
Well, marketing, we've been marketing, and I have been doing this since I started my practice. I've been sponsoring grand rounds at the local hospital, which our local hospital is a training hospital, and grand rounds is where they offer training for the training doctors. So we go and pay for their breakfast and put a stand up and talk to doctors and just tell them what we do. We don't really try and push clients to change accountants. We just let them know that we're a practice that specialises in the medical and health industry, and we're local, and that's working really well for us. And and what was your other question, MC?
What are the advantages? Like before, you talked about, Antoinette, the challenges when you got lots and lots of different client types. So that's different industries, different business models, the complexity that brings into your business. So moving forward, what do you think is going to happen with your own skills in onboarding and training other advisors as well?
Our staff have deep knowledge now on the 2 industries that we focus on, and I feel we'll be able to offer better services to the clients because we can give them better advice because we know those industries extremely well. So it's good.
And you used the word deep there. As you know, one of my favorite mantras is inch wide, mile deep, which I didn't invent. Herman Simon, the author of Hidden Champions, Austrian professor, he's also a pricing expert. Inch wide, mile deep. Inch wide in your focus, but mile deep in your expertise. How can a business advisor be an expert in a dozen or 20 or 50 different industries? It just makes no sense.
You really can't know all the industries. So it's actually, we've done ourselves a favour for the firm because now we only are taking on those clients. So in time, we will be turning around our client base to having those 2 industries. I know we've got a lot of broad industries, and the clients that we've got will continue to serve that are good clients, but we are really cleaning out the ones that are not the ideal clients for our practice and just replacing them with good ones.
I think the operational benefits alone are enough to specialize and focus. And by the way, at Masterclass, everyone, we'll cover 6 degrees of niching. There are different degrees. You don't have to go and super niche, I call it, the whole hog with everything, your whole brand, your name and everything. But there are degrees, and there's a sweet spot in there that we'll share. And, you know, one of the things you mentioned earlier, Antoinette, is the fact that, you know, you don't go to these events at the training hospital and beat your chest and tell everyone how great you are, which is what a differentiation strategy often is about, is how you're better or the best. It's just BS. But instead, and we're going to teach everyone this at Masterclass, is forget differentiation. What it's about is positioning. And when you're positioning, you're not saying, we are amazing, we're better than them and them and them. You're just saying, hey, we're over here. Yeah. In terms of we do this. So it can be really comfortable and low ego to say it. Hey, like, it's not like you feel you're out there, you know what I mean, spruiking yourself. You're just out there.
It's very, very easy to say, well, we're an accounting practice that specializes in this industry. And that's it. And, you know, people just have a chat, and some of them say, oh, my accountant's retiring, I'll have to come and have a chat. And it just works really well. But a lot of them, the training ones, are just finishing their training. But, you know, in the next 5 years, they will be starting their own practices or specializing. So it's really good.
Yeah, and you'll have such great long-term relationships with those guys. And birds of a feather flock together, the referral rate will pick up as well. Now, one thing, we're finishing up in a couple of minutes. I don't want people to misconstrue that strategy means niching. It doesn't. Niching is one way to focus, and it's not the only way. But even that area of focus is only one of the 7 big rocks to have an effective strategy. There's also business model, there's positioning, there's how you're going to apply leverage, product packaging, etc. And that is what we're going to cover at Masterclass, and is what we constantly are teaching people. You know, for example, in our closed Facebook group, just for members, we're often answering questions around elements of strategy. Because until you get your strategy right, it's just, business is just hard. It's harder than it has to be anyway, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Now, as you can see, everyone, the countdown there showing, what's that, about 13 hours left for you to secure your tickets. So when you come through and click on that button, if you're a member, click the orange button. If you're not yet a member of Paradox, you can still come to Masterclass. And we're offering a guarantee that we believe within 90 days, you'll actually easily return 9 times your investment in your ticket price at Masterclass. So just come along here, tick on the appropriate button. We do recommend, if you're a multi-partner firm or you have a leadership group, it is good to come as a group so that you can bounce things off each other. What are you wanting to get out of this Masterclass, Antoinette, just in closing?
I really want to define our strategy in terms of packaging for our clients and get that clearer, because at the moment we're doing well with choosing clients and that, but I'm not really good on selling the packages and getting the advisory side to the level I want it to be. So that's my next focus now.
Okay, great. Well, we're having a whole hands-on session just on that. And you know what you'll find? I've seen this in many businesses, not just service and advisory-based businesses, but once you get your packaging right, here's one of the most profound things I ever heard is people don't buy your product or service. They buy your offer. And your offer is just your proposition of what you're putting to them combined with the price. And once you get that right, you can actually, not that you want to grow rapidly, you'll be able to grow at whatever pace you want. But you know, I've seen businesses, you know, double month on month on month once that clicks around how to actually package and explain the services. So your sales process gets simpler.
That's our next exciting journey, is getting the packaging working and advisory. Well,
I can't wait to see what you do with that. And then Bianca will enable you to present it really well on your website as well. Okay, well, we'll wrap now, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in today. And thank you, Antoinette, for setting aside the time and racing back from the event that you had on this morning. That was all high drama.
That's all good. And thank you, MC. I can't thank you enough, and our practice can't thank you enough for what you've done for us. We really appreciate it.
Well, it's our pleasure working with you, and like, it really does warm our heart to see the results that you're getting. Yeah. 958% profitability up. You're not working weekends. You're giving yourself a pay rise. You've got 150 fewer clients now. Let's keep that trajectory going for you.
Yeah, no, it's just turning our lives around. You've done an amazing job. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. And look forward to seeing you in real life Monday morning at Masterclass.
Excellent. Thanks, MC.
Okay, thanks, Antoinette, and thanks again, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next webinar. Bye for now.
Bye.